I'll tell you what, I got a whole page full of stuff to go over.
Busy weekend.
Busy week.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on. That poor Richie boy.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
He walked through the door. I said, now I know why you don't have no trouble with the racetrack.
Is that natural, or you work out?
Well, before I started racing, that's what I did for a hobby. Just do football, and then I got 4 teenage daughters, and work and whatever. The gym became like a outlet just to go and just blow off steam, push myself, and so yeah, I enjoy it.
It broke me up.
But
I did it too young. I lettered in powerlifting in high school.
No.
And my knees is going, my shoulders is going, my arm, it's like, and now people are going like, they took it out of school because nobody realized that 18-year-olds that's still growing should not be lifting.
My 16-year-old, she decided she wanted to go back to the gym. She's drugging me back. And now I'm like, I turned 40 in November, and it's like, everything hurts, and you know, I'm just doing.
Oh, you're too young to have everything hurt.
Yeah.
Well, get going. I told her I love to go back, not even to like lift big weights, just to like loosen up some joints.
Yeah.
I don't think it would help, but it just made my shoulders crack and pop.
Yeah.
Stupid thing works tonight.
Man, we got a bunch of bald-headed people in there tonight.
Dang right. All but me, my bar's in here.
No, I'm okay. You take it off your lip.
Look at this under there.
So we'll be back at Baps this weekend.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
That's the plan. And then we're off for a weekend.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, today was wash day, so it wasn't enjoyable. Wash day for practice. But I'm liking I know the diehard racers don't like it, but I'm liking the weeks off. Years ago, man, we raced 2 nights a week. We raced Friday nights and Saturday nights, didn't think nothing of it. And now, man, I race Saturday nights, we race Saturday nights. I'm dead for 2
It's
or
like
3
we had Williams Grove and Baps the next, Saturday night this weekend. It's like, you definitely feel it by the time you get home, change the gear, get back to the track. And
I guess I'll go live. I wasn't going to, but we already got a few seconds. We better go. I don't know. Our song started. Wasn't paying attention. It's all Shirley's fault. I'll just interrupt the song. That way we get going because we got a lot to talk about.
All right, Chatty.
Everybody's somebody's fool.
It's an old song.
I never heard of war.
Huh.
I have. You gotta remember how old my parents are.
And everybody's somebody's fool. I didn't like to start the show out that way tonight, but hey, welcome to the On Track with Mike show. We're live here on WRGG 93.7 FM. Man, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Some good, some bad, unfortunately, but we got a lot to talk about. We got Evan Foust in the studio, and we got the faster Pastor Shane Wilt here, and we got Shirley here. So, man, we got a packed house, and I'll be lucky if I get a word in edgewise. Let me turn the mics on in case those guys want to say something. Huh?
Close to it. You sound muffled.
Oh, thank you for being a professional studio I can turn them down a little bit there. I'm going to get yelled at by my station manager, Shirley Kershner, that things don't sound right. So, anyway. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And want to thank TA Ward Construction for continuing to sponsor the show. I hear something, Shirley. Thanks to Todd Ward. He supports a lot of racers and a lot of tracks and everything. And thanks to this radio station here in Greencastle for giving us dirt track racers a platform to talk racing. I don't think it's very common that you find too many stations talking about dirt track racing. So, but did you turn number 4 up, hon? Number 4. Yeah, it should be good then. Yeah, but thanks to Todd Ward, we have a lot to talk about tonight. Unfortunately, we have to start the show off kind of somber, but we want to show our respects. Unfortunately, I'm sure everyone's seen today on social media that Tyler Ritchie has passed away. And anyone that got to see him race, it was truly inspiring to watch. A gentleman that was wheelchair bound at the age of 18 years old. And he got into, I remember him in a limited. I don't know if he ran anything before. I think he said he ran street stocks. But I remember racing with him in the limiteds. And, he had hand controls, and he looked better with hand controls than most people do with
Yeah. True statement.
But he was 33 years old from Woodbury, PA. He suffered a paralyzing injury at the age of 18. Unfortunately, he passed away either last night or this morning at the hospital from complications. He suffered. I can't even talk tonight. Suffered a spinal injury 15 years ago in a swimming pool accident. I left him at incomplete quadriplegic. Despite being in a wheelchair, he went racing at Bedford using hand controls in his cars in a pure stock and later in the limited late model and super late model division. Drove the familiar number 3 to a pair of limited late model victories at Bedford in 2019, including his lone win in the Mason-Dixon Shootout Series, and captured his first ever triumph in the headline super late model class at his home track in August. He entered the first 2 super late model events at Bedford in 2026 season. And I know that was I believe it was August the 8th, 2025, he picked up his first super late model win at Bedford. And I know that there wasn't a dry in the place, man. Everybody just loved Tyler Ritchie. Plus winning the Mason-Dixon Shootout Series. That was no easy task back then either. But I just want to say thoughts and prayers to his family, family and friends. It's definitely. He also has a wife of 5 years and their 2-year-old son Wyatt. So really feel bad for the family. But continue to think about them guys and keep them in our prayers. We also thoughts and prayers to the family of Scott Palmer. Scott unfortunately lost his dad Ray there over the week, but he did give his dad quite an honor on Saturday night at Baps by winning the Limit Late Mile feature. Also, thoughts and prayers to the Travis Campbell family with his loss of his wife, Lacey. I understand she had a blood clot or something that caused complications. Another 40, I believe she was 40. So, want to give thoughts and prayers to the Travis Campbell family. It's a shame to have to announce all this stuff, but we're just trying to honor the racers. So continued prayers to Alan Saggy's wife Debbie. She's still struggling with some problems there. Jeff Huber, I don't know if I hope I pronounced that right. I know the car and the name, He's an SCDRA driver. He travels around a lot, hit a lot of the big shows. He suffered a broken back at Winchester Speedway in a wreck down there. He'll probably be out of work for approximately 6 to 8 weeks. So keep them in your prayers, because I mean that's hard for any family to go without the money, the money bringer 6 to 8 weeks of dealing with no job and that kind of things. Also, Kelby Freeze, East Coast legend driver Kelby Freeze, rolled over, had a flip over at Path Valley Speedway, got a compression fracture at T12, and will be out for a while. So even with the best safety equipment we have, everybody had the best. They said Jeff Uber keeps a full containment seats, the best safety equipment. I mean, these cars are getting faster and faster, and there's no small wrecks anymore, unfortunately. We can try to avoid it the best we can, but on a better note, I thought it was pretty cool. Seen an article on Stuart Friesen. I don't know if you've seen that article, Shane, or not. I know you're a Stuart Friesen fan. From disaster to master, he celebrated his 100th feature win at Fonda Speedway.
Wow.
And I thought that was pretty cool after everything he went through. I don't know if you've seen the picture on the On Track with Mike page, the Toyota pickup on there. It's a sim racing truck. Christopher Hockley, he's racing he races the Ohio Sim Racing Truck Series. They're racing tonight at Nashville Speedway, and he has a paint job on the truck that he did to honor Tyler Ritchie tonight. So, and I did see where he also won. He recently just won Dover in one of them.
Wow.
I know they call them sim. They call them something else too. Like I can't think of them. What's that thing Cody's got, Shirley? You remember what it is? The thing, the drive, like the
iRacing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
See, man, we knew we brought him along for some reason.
He's younger than all of us.
That's where I started.
Yeah, there you go.
Hagerstown Speedway come out with a Tech Tuesday article there a week or two ago with some tech they did on some limited late models and crate late models. I thought that was really pretty cool. I think more tracks need to do that. It takes all the he said, she said, rumor mill, stops a rumor mill right away. They just get on the website of the Speedway. There's a technical article on there of who they teched and what they checked, and so I thought that was pretty cool that they started that. Also, meeting at Path Valley Speedway after the drivers' meeting for Thunder Cars, they are going to discuss the Thunder Cars going to E85. So if you race at Path Valley and run a Thunder Car and you want to switch your car over to E85, go to that meeting. And I think I got everything there, dear. Well, yeah, thoughts and prayers to all them families there, the people that's injured, hopefully for a speedy recovery, and the ones we lost. Once again, we're sorry to hear that. Anything going on, Shirley?
Yeah.
You got your mic.
Yeah, we got stuff going on here.
Not just me, but you got a mic.
Brian Walls says,
Oh, you got the walls.
They're on already.
Perfo Max Racing, let's go. Daryl Kendall is tuned in and watching. And we say hello to those guys. And that's all I got right now.
Once again, if you're just tuning in, On Track with Mike show here with Mike Kershner, and we have Evan Foust in the studio, and we have a surprise visit from the faster pastor, Mr. Shane Wilt. It took him a little longer to get here tonight because he was hungover from last night. So
That's not true, Evan.
that's one of the things we always do. They
wrong with that.
Evan, you know how when they check they make you check your cooler at the Speedway. I always tell them, I'll say, we don't have no alcohol in the cooler this week. I say, Shane had a pretty good week. I said, we'll let you know whenever he's got a bad week and there's a bunch of whiskey in there. And he always Shane takes it really good in stride. Gets red faced, but you know, he really gets red faced when he's in the sun. And I do it. But anyway, we got Shane here tonight. Thankful for him coming. Well, Evan, I guess we'll get started here with the main attraction. I want to thank you for taking the time to come in. You've been in the spotlight quite a bit here already this year. The highs and the lows of racing that fortunately, but unfortunately, some of us have been there. We're going to talk about that a little later right now, but let's get into the beginning. How did you get into racing?
Just from a young age, that my uncle had a late model when I was little. It was at my grandparents' house, and I just still remember the first time I was there when he fired that thing up, and just the raw horsepower, and just I ran in the house and went up in the bay window and watched from in there, because it just seemed like, you know, he's standing inside the car messing with the carburetor. I thought, like, that thing, something happens, it's not going to be good. But just from there, just the fact that people strapped themselves into those cars, and it just fascinated me. And I just, from there,
how old was you whenever that? Do you remember?
Probably 6 or something, maybe.
So you was really young.
And then he raced, and then he had a Busch Grand National car for a while.
Really?
It actually was in my backyard. You know, our family all kind of builds every house that we have, and his shop wound up being in my backyard. So I was young. I never got to really work on it or anything, but I was around with the guys hanging out at the shop, and just saw the camaraderie and all that kind of stuff, and just got to watch them race at Dover a couple of times, and just, you know, just always liked to race. Everybody, you know, I just always wanted to race and just never really had the opportunity, but I just loved it. I mean, my mom has a report from when I was in like 5th grade or something. I wanted to be a race car driver and this and that. So I always just wanted to do it. I just got the chance later in life, I guess.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the camaraderie, because I think that is what keeps a lot of race teams going. I know that at least in our shop, we have unfortunately lost some helpers due to want to spend more time with their family, because, you know, it takes a lot of time. And that's one thing I miss. I mean, it's like, you know, all the work, all the hours you have to spend in the shop, it makes it go a lot quicker and a lot easier when you have people there to cut up with, or to, you know, give a hard time, or, you know, got somebody else whenever you go to leave, something's done that you had to do. So yeah, the camaraderie I think is what keeps a lot of people in racing, because it's like a family deal.
Yeah, I built that first car, and I was like, you know, I knew my uncle would help me, but I wasn't sure past that what kind of help I'd have. And just no sooner I raced the first race or second race or whatever, Aaron Ripka stopped by. He lived right down the street, was asking this, that, and the other thing, and we've become like best friends, brothers. He's right down the street, always willing to help. And, you know, he's the one, I don't know if you guys paying attention, but when we're loading up, he'll say, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen," and start this whole deal. And
is he the one that did the videos inside the car and everything?
Yeah,
I've seen them.
I mean, it's just, I call him A-Ron, but, you know, just, we've become very good friends through racing, and really more like brothers. Somebody, like, you know, there's very few people in life where you come across them and you're like, instantly, it's just, you know, like, you've known him forever and just can trust him. And he's definitely one of those people.
What year did you start?
I was going to Winchester. Kenny Page, I think in 14, won the track championship in my uncle's car at Winchester. I went every week, and watched. I was always like the stock cars and the U cars. I thought they put on the best race. I always watched the super late model race, because obviously my uncle had a car, I wound up buying Jason Wilkins' old U car. Me and my best friend went half on it. And he's like the complete opposite of me, skin and bones, you know, 120 pounds, whatever. And we made it where his seat could fit in it. We could unbolt it and put my seat in it. We went practicing the first practice down at Potomac. He drove it once, said he's getting a stock car. And so I ran a year of U cars, and then mostly helped him with his stock car, and just really wanted to do that. And he stopped racing, and that was 2021, 2020, sometime right around there. That was all going on. And I couldn't keep the right front on the U car at the end of the night. Like I would go the whole night and then start the feature and it would just roll the right front off. Didn't matter if I had a tube in it, what I was doing. I don't know if I was driving it wrong or my weight in the seat or whatever. So I wound up selling that and got some money together and bought my buddy's old stock car and just took it all apart 100%. Took it apart, everything on it, and put it. I mean, it had trees and stuff growing on it at that point in time. Put it back together and started racing. And then the more my uncle saw that I was serious and I was going to do it no matter what, luckily he was able to get involved and help me out, and it just snowballed from there too.
2022 was your first year at Hagerstown?
I think so. Yeah, 2022. I think that was the year I took that car out. I built that car in my garage. It was attached to my house. It barely fit in there.
Now is that the black car with
the pink one is actually a throwback to my uncle's late model, the one that I ran away from when he started the first time when I was little. And I built that car. It was done at the beginning of the season. I never raced it until the last part of the season at Hagerstown because I had also bought a shop. It was a kit. And I told myself I wasn't going to race the car until I built the shop. So I built a 30 by 60 shop. And when I got the shop to the point that I could race the car out of it, we went racing and totaled it 4 weeks at the Small Car Nationals 4 weeks later. Totaled the front and the back of that car.
Because I remember, like, I didn't know who you was, but I remember you coming to practices or something. And I just remember the black car with the fluorescent yellow cage and everything.
So we totaled that car
because it caught my eye, and I'm like, I wonder who that guy is. I like that freaking. He got the frame and everything painted, that color.
Yeah, so we totaled that car, and I like 4 races in, I put everything I had is into it.
Really?
With the motor and the body. Actually, I went up to Colby Fry's shop, and Sammy Rao helped me put the setup in it. I mean, he had to show me how to knock the ball joint off the front of it. I mean, that's how much I didn't know. And
so you started really green.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been around racing, but I never worked on cars. I'm not a mechanic. Nothing
no,
like
you never
that.
had no mechanical background.
And, we do project management now, but so everything I've learned was just really Googling or my uncle or
it takes a lot.
Just deciding you wanted to do it and figure it out. And so once we totaled that car, my uncle came over the next day and said, just look for a car. We had spent enough time at the track. People were helping us, but we were kind of just didn't really know what we were doing. He was a late model guy, not like a stock car guy. And he said, just find the car. That car had tubing in it and everything else. It wasn't much. He said, find a car that has some kind of like backing to it. Somebody that's building these cars and can support us and kind of lead us in the right direction. And that's where I got on a hunt looking for. I didn't even know what that meant. Like the first car I bought was $3,500. So I started looking around on Facebook and found that. Well, I didn't actually found that car. I found it was like a black and gray car. I think it was a Terminator. I had no idea who they were or what they were doing, but I got the number and called them. And I guess because after COVID, I wanted, I was like, how much did it take to, get a hobby stock? And they said it was going to be like, 18 months or something because they're all backed up on tubing and everything else from COVID. He said, but our parts dealer has a car. And so I got on the line with him, and it's actually that car, that orange,
really,
the neon yellow, some people call it green car. I was always 78 in football. It was a 78 car. They had the chassis, serial number to 78.
Really?
Made a deal with that guy. Went out to Iowa and picked it up. Pulled up in front of the shop. It said 78 parking only. I'm like, this is just kind of meant to be.
Wow.
And we got that car, and we thought that we had this. When I showed back up the next year, I was like, man, I got this nice car. We're gonna kick some butt. And we struggled. We had motor issues. It was an IMCA legal hobby stock, and based on the rule book, an IMCA hobby stock was what they were running at Hagerstown. And we struggled. We finished like 5th, 8th, and we just missing something. And that, I think the key to the whole thing is my uncle that year said, like, you're going to take that car and we're going to run it right along the guardrail all the way at the bottom. You never come off the bottom of the track. You just, that way, you wrap that guardrail. He could see that I was kind of doing the same thing, running the same groove, so he could see what the car was doing. And we worked through that year, and then we went back out to Iowa for their chassis school in the all season, and learned a couple things, applied it to the car, and that's when 2024 when we started.
Yeah, I have your stats here. off of my race pass. 2022, you ran 4 races, 0 top 5s, 1 top 10, 0 wins. 2023, you ran 10 races. This is at Hagerstown Speedway. 1 top 5, 5 top 10, 0 wins. And then 2024, 12 races, 11 top 5s, 11 top 10s, and 6 wins.
Wow.
That's 50% in the win column.
Wow. Impressive.
And we had two blown clutches that.
That's pretty impressive
Wow, that is
for
impressive.
just getting into racing and race. I mean, sometimes it takes people years and years of.
What we found the difference between the 2023 and the 2024 was that our car was too legal. 2023, really, I guess if you want to put it that way. And then we made some changes to it based on the things that we learned through racing and people telling us stuff and whatever in the off season. And we came back out, and the first time I drove it, all of a sudden, like I went from was trying to fight the guardrail and keep it down the guardrail, and I was just pushing like a dumb truck, wouldn't steer. And I went out the first practice and was like, all of a sudden I got a Lamborghini. Like things were working. And
anybody that follows the IMCA races out in Boone, Iowa, I mean,
Is that the Murdy boys, Mike?
yeah, them, and I mean they
Dalen
do, what is it, 600 cars,
Wow.
and do I don't know how many. I mean, they just bam. It's so efficient the way they do it. Heat race after heat race after heat race, and they are very thorough. If you win one of them races, I mean, they basically tear the whole front suspension apart. I think the cages have to be, not that our cars aren't safe, but I think they got to have 1 3/4 cages in them instead of like a lot of guys run 1 1/2 cages. So there's just a difference. Not that an IMCA car can't compete up here. It's just
that's what we're running.
they're two different.
Yeah.
They're two different
That's what it is.
two different animals as
Sure.
far as
Yeah.
what goes on out there and what goes on.
And our cars are IMCA legal.
Are they?
Yeah, I mean we're getting them from Harris. They're 5 minutes from Boone,
Wow.
and we
Is that the same Harris that built the modifieds?
Yeah, they run the modifieds. Yeah, Kyle.
They
the
was
modified
they
guy.
was the modifieds to own years ago. Harris, everybody ran them.
Wow.
We actually went to the Super Nationals last year.
Did you?
Yeah, we ran that.
I know you guys went down south, built a new car here the other year, and went down somewhere. Or went somewhere to race. Was that the Nationals you went?
Yeah, we went to Super Nationals last year.
Okay.
With the car we got last year. And
I remember
we didn't do
following-
anything.
I remember-
That's a crazy ordeal out there for that, you know. So
And everybody's so even, and I mean like they just like they swap most time they're swapping the lead.
Yeah.
Like one lap the leader's leading, the next lap the leader's running third or fourth. Like it's just that's how competitive those guys are out there.
Do you
There's
feel
a-
like you were a better racer because you went out there? I mean, did you?
I think just putting yourself in that environment, like when we went out and we actually blew the motor up, our IMCA motor up at BAPS the Thursday before we left, or the Wednesday before we left. We're leaving on Thursday or something. So we had to go out and pick up a motor, put a motor in when we got out there. And then they run the Prelude the weekend before. And that's where
that
everybody that's
the
there
phone.
practices at the same time. They say all stock cars and you're in the middle of this field and there's cars everywhere. Well, I went pulling up for the first time, and it was like by the time you get, I mean, there's like, it just seemed like endless stock cars, just stout stock cars pulling out in front of you. And I'm sitting in the car going like, who am I to be out here doing this?
Yeah,
But
if you don't make it, like they start back at like the F mains or something like that. Like you know around here you run a B main. Like there's guys that like start in the rear of the F and go all the way and like qualify in the top 2, and then they got to go to the next. They call it alphabet soup or whatever. But like it's amazing to watch like one of them guys like have a tire go flat in the middle of a heat race or something, and they got to go all the way back and just keep working their way. And I mean it's
there's 3 qualifying nights, and you get a good pill draw one night, so you like 1 through 100, 201 to 300, and then I think there's like when we were out there last year, it was 30 or 34 stock car like heat races.
Wow, 34.
And then they redo the track every 10, complete redo of the track, and then whether the stock cars are running first or the modified. So it's not a matter of just like, are you going first after a track prep, but like what time of the day it is, and those guys all know how to adjust to that.
Wow, that's
It's
amazing.
It's a crazy deal.
Unfortunately, we're having technical issues.
We're having a
So
little
now
bit
we got to get
caught up here.
get caught up here. We kept looking and there was no comments coming in, and
Yeah.
she screwed around and
Frankie Wallace says, "Get it done."
Hey,
Evan
Frankie.
Foust. Todd Ward says, "Hey guys, looking forward to the interview."
hey Todd
Brian Jones says, "Hey everyone."
or Brian, how's the ankle, Brian?
Angela Faust started U-Cars in 2019.
Is that your wife?
My wife.
Okay.
You guys
See, she has your stats.
There you go, man. She's got it.
We should have had her on the show.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
That's right.
You could have sat in the car in the parking lot.
She tries to keep me straight. But
That's awesome.
Peggy Kershner, glad to see our wonderful Pastor Shane and Evan Faust there tonight too.
She didn't say nothing
Great
about.
guys.
She didn't say nothing about me,
Prayers
did
for
she?
those that lost
Appreciate that.
loved ones. Doug Watson, 2 of those 6 wins came from 15th or deeper in the field that
Yeah,
season.
yeah, you could do that. I mean,
well, we started
Thank you,
running
Doug.
good. And they started doing where resetting the field based on points. I'm like, man, all of a sudden started running good, and all of a sudden I'm starting back there. And it was cool though. By the end of the year, Keith Reed and I, we're starting like 11th and 12th.
and whoever gets to the
and
front
we're racing
first.
for a championship, and it was like
That's
they
cool.
dropped the green flag and it was on, and
that's
we're
cool.
coming. And my dad he'd be like, man, it was really cool. You're leading by the second lap, but sometimes you're splitting gaps and you don't. I'm like, I'd rather get crashed going forward than get run over, from behind. So if I got a shot, I'm taking it. But that invert made it interesting for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the type of race team that we don't leave the pits until there ain't no cars on the track. So I always look forward to the stock car races because I mean, like I don't know Keith Reed, didn't really know you, but you learn the cars and like it's awesome to watch the Beavers boy and the ain't that a shame? The one his dad raced. I can't even think of the name. I'm sorry.
Yonkers.
Yonker.
Yeah,
The Yonker, Darren and his boy. I mean,
They're good racers.
Randy Lindenberg. I mean that was a dang good class. Sort of like the year that I know the Pure Stocks always had good racing, but we didn't really get into it until like 21 or 22, and I just really enjoyed that year. Like we had like Jeremy Tinsman and had the Jamie Swank in the 22 and had the 7 car. And I mean, like every week, like it was like one or the other was like winning the race or something. Like very competitive. Everybody racing clean. It was just like a really enjoyable year.
We got another comment here. Dylan Pryor says, "Get your crap together, Mike. Good Lord." Dylan, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties tonight. Our internet is just lagging. So I don't
Who
know.
said that? Dylan said that.
Yeah, I don't know what the issue is.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Before he has to run his mouth to me, he has to run better than 15th at freaking Port Royal on freaking Saturday nights.
That's funny.
Dylan, you're doing a good job. Don't listen to Mike. Keep
Gas
doing what you're
is
doing.
gas is on the right.
You're not
I gave him a hard
tearing
time.
anything up.
I told him, I
You're
said,
still learning.
it was only his second race in a limited, and I said, you did the right thing. It's better to use your head and make laps than it is to drive in there like a hero and break stuff up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the invert, like, Friday night with Williams Grove. It's a new track, never been there before. And unfortunately, I did get into Tyler Miller and spun him out in the heat race, which I felt bad about. But other than that, like, I was out front. And that's like the loneliest place in a dirt car you can be sometimes.
Oh, yeah,
Especially
yeah.
when you've never been around a track before. A place like Williams Grove, that place will get your attention when you show up there with them straightaways they got. And beginning of that race, I'm like, well, at least I'm starting third. I'll get to kind of get an idea of what everybody else is doing. And that big crash happened on the back straightaway the first lap. And
Just get behind the walls and
yeah, I was like, I'll follow Brian and see where he's doing. And,
follow
figure this
Brian.
place out. And then next thing you know,
them boys are tough. Them
Yeah.
boys are tough. I had him on the show a couple years ago, and like they had that car tore apart one night. They was winning, and like I was very impressed. Like they tore that car apart, like every nut and bolt. Like they come out of the tech shed at like 6 a.m. and there was like just a bare frame. The tack was tore apart. I mean, looking for traction control, everything. And I was like, man, like it was amazing that they went through all that to prove.
And they're racers. Like, I mean, you can say what you want about Frankie, but Frankie's going to do whatever it takes to get Brian in that race car. And I think there's something to be said about that. Like, I mean, they don't, you know, he's willing to do whatever it takes because he knows, man, Brian Walls is a heck of a race car driver. And I mean, there's something to be said about that.
Well, they all are.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, they are. I mean, they've all run up front everywhere they go, and that's what I said. Just follow Brian.
Yeah.
I got a couple more comments here. They're not coming up on the laptop, but I have them on my phone. Mark Foust, Jesus loves you, Buck.
Is that your dad?
That's my uncle.
Uncle, okay.
Yeah.
Is that the one that owned the late model?
No, he's actually in Tennessee. He got a heart transplant. I talked about that last year, and he's still down there recovering. But there's a funny part to that too. Had a new guy decide to ride up to Bass with me or Williams Grove with me Friday night. My uncle Mark called me, prayed in the car and the truck driving up there, and the guy get off the phone and he goes, "See, I knew you were cheating." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Man, you got Jesus on your side."
That's good. That's good.
Because when somebody starts doing that and you can feel his presence, and you know all of a sudden it changed the dynamic in the truck.
Yeah.
And he goes, "See, I knew you were cheating." I thought that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's cool.
And it's very rough. I mean, I planned on getting into this later in the interview, but it's very hard in my opinion, maybe I don't handle it the right way, but like to me, it's very hard to be outward with God. Not that you're ashamed of it. But it seems like soon as you put that out there or put a Bible verse on your car or whatever, like you're supposed to walk on water and you're supposed to be this, you know, like the guy I'm not saying anybody, I'm just making up somebody, so nobody that races with you, Babs, I don't want them to get offended. But it's like the guy you're racing is going like, well, I don't go to church, so I can do whatever I want to do and everybody expects it. But like for you, it's like, with your faith and everything, I mean, like one of the things I first noticed about you was your suit and about the message on the back of the car. Have you had a very positive?
I haven't had anything negative, as far as I can tell, like directed towards that. I mean, that whole started at our church. There was they moved them, I think Myrtle Beach, but they asked us to be a chapter, my wife, and up here, and they give out shirts to say Jesus loves you on them. And we were going through that season where we were winning at Hagerstown. It was all this drama at the track. And I was at church on Sunday morning, and the guy that I was doing security with said, you know, I had one of those shirts on. He said, you know, somebody your size wearing that shirt, it means more. And I thought, well, okay. Well, I'm going to put it on the back of the race car, almost just like as a joke. Well, we had the Eric Johnson Memorial the following weekend. We were out on the front stretch, and people were sitting in the car. And I actually almost got in a fist fight in the front. You know, that's because everybody was just mad. Yeah. And we won't get too far into that, but on Monday morning, I won the race. On Monday morning, the guy sent me a Facebook Messenger thing, and it said that, you know, like talking about me having a ministry. And I thought, well, that's crazy. That isn't. But it changed. It was like, well, if that's what I have, then I need to. Then I'm not. And that was the first night I ever was open about my faith because of the same reasons you're talking about. And once I did, I was I'll never not do it.
Plus it's hard. I've been known, unfortunately, my wife will tell you that I've been known to, in years past, to take racing really seriously and to get a little hot-headed. And I usually cool off pretty quick, and that usually cooler heads prevail. And within a decent amount of time, I'm, you know, feel bad for what I said or what I did, whatever. But anyway, it's like, it's very, very hard to, and I imagine what Shay can do being a pastor. Like, it's very hard to hold your ground with a race car. This is my opinion, by the way, that and also like show everyone your love for the Lord and your faith and everything, because it's like, it's like, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, we're not in church because we're perfect,
Yeah.
And
So where's the fine line for you? Because you said, "Hey, I spun somebody out Friday night." I mean, do you think about that kind of stuff when things like that happen?
Not necessarily, Carly. I mean, I will, before the race or after the race or whatever, I know it's God's plan. So whether I win or finish second or third or wherever, it's what He wanted.
I usually just pray for safety. I don't think I've ever prayed, God, let me win. I've always said, just keep me. Like when you're behind the pace truck, and you're waiting on victory lane to get done or whatever, that's whenever I usually close my eyes and say, God, just keep everybody safe and help us to have fun.
It does help me keep the cool afterwards and not get so upset about everything, because it's all in His plan. And if that's the case, then you don't have, there's some underlying reason why it happened. Like I said.
So I'd love to hear you tell the listeners from a personal standpoint, what has God done for you? You said it was emotional, so if you need to get emotional, brother. Well, what's He done for you personally?
Well, just like everything that goes on in the background, like we are well funded, but that doesn't mean it's easy. We work hard and so this whole deal, if that guy, honestly, if that guy hadn't messed with me that day, I probably wouldn't be racing, just because it just, whether we try to do too much or whatever, like somewhere along the line, it just got to be, it's not easy, and we're pushing too hard, and there's just a lot going on in the background that without my faith and without them saying, hey, you have a ministry, and seeing what it's doing at the track, and like really honestly, it's more about that for me now than it is the actual racing part of it. The good part about it is, like, and through His plan, I've found a new pastor, preacher, I don't even know what you call him, and he's starting a church and it's just in the middle school in Charlestown. And we are a lot alike. We have a lot in common. The Curtis Teal Anthology Church is on the car. I asked him to put it on the car this year. And I felt like if I'm going to be outward about my faith, and I'm not going to tell you any Bible scripture, I'm not going to quote anything, but I figured if I did come across somebody at the track and they do see how I'm living, my testimony, and they're interested, like, I feel like I could send them to Curtis and be like, hey, good, and so I kind of have a partnership, and that's just this week, somebody on Facebook said, hey, that's cool. You got, a friend sent it to me. Hey, you got Anthology Church on the side of your car. I've known Curtis from a long time ago, and sent it to Curtis, and he's like, that's cool. Like, people are starting to make the connection, and the kind of message that he has is one that will resonate with people that you find at the dirt track. And so cool. It's done a lot. Honestly, it's really, it hasn't really changed who I am, but it's
always got something
different.
And whether you want to see it or not, I never met you till tonight. I've messaged you a few times. I can see it. The way that you guys, the way you drive, the way you guys present yourself, the Facebook post. Unfortunately, you had an issue at BAPS the other week after a win at Easter there, especially at Easter, after I heard through the grapevine that you actually, when you got interviewed, that you spoke about the Lord and everyone needs to get to know Him and everything. And then unfortunately they found a small thing in your car that you didn't really know about, but didn't know it was against the rules. As far as I'm concerned, there's no advantage to it, but I don't know what, they have it in the rule for a reason. I don't know why, but that's my opinion. But anyway, the way that I don't know you or your team, but I was very impressed as a Christian man to see how you guys conducted yourself with this adversity. So whether you see it or not, you guys are doing a good job on and off the track.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I went back that night and I just like, how do I make this right on that side of not so much the racing tech side, but how do I make this right when you go out and hand out Easter eggs at the Easter race and then win the race, talk about God, and then get disqualified? And like I said before the show, like in that moment when the decision was coming down that I'll get disqualified, I can say, well, God wanted me to win the race. He also wanted me to get disqualified. And there's got to be some kind of underlying reason. There's a lot positive that's happened since then. So, and I think it's a better testimony on like how you react to the bad situations than just the good ones. You know?
And most
That'll preach. By the way, that'll preach.
I'm not trying to be negative, but we all know that it's out there. I don't believe, in my opinion, there is racers that are their own worst enemy. But in my opinion, Evan, most racers are pretty decent. Most racers will make things right. Most racers will talk things out. Unfortunately, it's the social media, and some of us, the people that don't even go to the track, or the relatives, or maybe some friend that, maybe got a couple in them or something.
Yep,
and it's like, most the racers, if you let two racers in a room and lock the door, I'd say a good 90-some% of the time, they're going to come out, shake each other's hands, maybe agree to disagree. I'm not saying they got to like each other, but most racers they want to conduct business in a professional manner and then go racing again.
That's right.
They don't want to deal with, I'm going to crash you and we're going to crash this and most racers want to resolve the issue, even if you don't agree with it, Shane, you know how it is. You just say, hey, whatever, I don't agree with it. You go this way, you go that way, and then the next week you race hard again.
Yep. Yeah, it's like Tyler Friday night. We're at Williams Grove. I'm sure he was excited to be there. We start racing, and I went down turn one, and my car didn't stick, and I had clocked it all the way to the right, trying to stay off of him, and I got about half of it back, and the front just took off and hit him. I know it looked horrible. It was not intentional. When I pulled off, he was giving me a thump like he was mad. I mean, he should be. I would be.
Yeah.
I felt terrible about it. And I waited until the end of the night. His brother had crashed the whole thing, but I wanted to make sure that, like, hey, I'm sorry. It wasn't intentional. And I'm in it. Like, I every chance I get, I try to promote those two brothers. They race hard. They're amazing race car drivers. I want to promote them. The last thing I want to do is crash them.
I believe the one is the gentleman that had his car up at the Booze open house. I believe that was one of them. I think.
Yeah, I think one of them was up there.
And Mike, I want to say this too on that very same note to one of your listeners, Dylan Pryor. So 2 weeks ago at Hagerstown in the heat race, he came in. And he got out of the car and he said, hey, I got into the 462. And he went right from his pit area over to the 462. No, I don't think the Walls guy was driving because I think he's had broken wrist.
No,
Somebody
he
else
had
was,
Jacob Burdett.
That's what it was. So shout out to Dylan Pryor that he's trying to do the same thing you're doing to say, hey, it was my fault. I got into you. I want to make it right. And I gained a lot of respect for him. I watched him do that.
He told me he did it too, and I told him that was the right thing to do. I mean, there's, in these late model cars, you can't see a lot.
Right.
And there's been times where my son has came in. I said, Cody, you need to go thank so-and-so. And he's like, well, what happened? I'm like, well, they lifted for you. He's like, well, I couldn't see it. I said, I'm not blaming you for nothing.
Right.
I'm just telling you that they lifted for you where it could have been a bad situation. And most time you walk over and you say, hey, man, my dad told me, or my crew guy or whoever told me that I appreciate you lift. And, the guy is a very well-respected racer. I'll go ahead and tell you because I think they're great people. Wesley Bonebreak, he went over and he's like, oh, no problem, man. He says, we're not going to wreck two cars for 8th place or whatever. It was like a heat race or something. And Cody's like, well, and I'm not trying to do anything with either one of them racers. I'm just trying to say racer A and racer B that it goes a long way that you recognize that guy
That's right.
lifted for you or that guy cut you some slack. You know, and it goes a long way because, you know, there's, I gotta let my wife talk. I'm sorry.
You know, I do
She
gotta
just-
say something here. Mike lets me.
Hey, I knew this was going to be a good interview. I knew.
Us, you know, all of us as believers, if Jesus exists, we have a lot to win. We have eternal life to win. If Jesus does not exist, we have nothing to lose either. So we don't. But we always need to remember, though, during racing, that show a little bit of respect. Because I know you get hot in the moment with, you know, the temperatures outside makes it worse. When it's hot outside,
the women make it worse.
when it's hot outside,
Evan, you see why I get in
flaring.
trouble now?
I tell my wife all the time, thank God she stays out of it. And stays
Mine does
calm,
too.
'cause
I'm just giving her a
she
hard.
jumped in.
I'm just giving her a hard
Jesus around
time.
and keep me cool.
And tempers flare.
I'm just trying to.
But you got to remember, there are a lot of children that come to the races, whether they be in the stands or they be in the pits. That is the next generation. That is what is going to carry on racing. If they don't carry it on, there won't be any more racing. So if you show respect while they're small, when they come on as the new runners, then they'll see how you handle things, and they're going to take, and it's going to reflect off on them how they're going to treat things when
It
they
is.
become a racer.
It is hard though. It is very hard. You spend a lot of time doing this. I, for one, can tell you that I took it way too seriously. It was something I didn't want to fail in. I didn't want to feel like a failure. And I would beat myself up Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then get ready to race on Saturday. And, you know, the whole way home, you're playing in your mind, I should have turned here. I should have dove here. I should have did this. And it's like, now, since I'm older, it's like the guys that can go out and race every week, and like, I understand you're not going to have great nights every night, but the guys that can go home with a smile on their face, that's way better than being so competitive that you beat yourself. I mean, it's just like, I shouldn't have been that way, but it's just,
If you don't let me get to these comments, I'm going to beat you up.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Shane won't quit
Doug
talking.
Watson says,
And my
point
buddy Doug.
handicapping, especially like they do at Bedford,
Yeah.
is essential to keep racers honest and the fans interested.
Amen.
Sheila Grimm says Evan Foust is a great driver.
Ooh,
See if there's
there you
anything
go.
else here.
I love Sheila.
You got one fan.
Yes, man. Sheila's a big fan. That's my girl. I love Sheila.
Let me see if I have
Very good
anything
family.
else here.
Yeah, please,
This
please,
internet is acting
yeah,
stupid.
please bear with us. We're going to try to get to everybody's comments and any
Oh, we
questions
do
you got
have.
for Evan. Let us know. We'll get him to answer them. Even if you want the lottery numbers for this weekend.
I don't know how many I've missed here, but I'm going to go from here. Mark Huffman, Mike Kershner, most racers will agree to disagree and shake hands except for the racers at Bowman Gray Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris Bresler, sometimes if Shane's thinking it's someone else running out on the track.
Yeah. That's, we got to tell you that inside story then. Here.
Keith Walls, I appreciate when he did that. There's not too many drivers would do that. Keith Walls, he came right to me and apologized.
And Keith, also, you know, you need to commend it too. Dylan, I mean, I'm not trying to bring all this out there, but Dylan said that, you know, Keith looked at him and said, "Hey, bud, we're good." So I mean, it goes both ways.
Sure. Get that
So,
wrist.
so Keith, you're going to be commended also.
Get that wrist well, Keith.
Linda Fogel, she says, "Hi, everyone." Hi, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
I think I might be caught up, but I'm not sure. Well, I'm going to find out.
If Shirley missed your comments,
I'll get back to
put
it.
Put it on again, because keep putting it on till we see it, because we're trying to. We don't want to get home and see where we missed a good question or comment to Evan
I
or
just don't know
anything
what's
like
going on
that.
with This internet.
And I will. I mean, I'll tell everybody, I'm gonna race you hard. Especially if you're gonna race me hard, I'm just gonna race you back. This is hard. I'm not gonna give any ground. I hope I will never intentionally wreck somebody on a racetrack, though. That's one thing I will not do. I'll make mistakes and wreck somebody, but I'm gonna
We
race
all-
you hard. That's all.
everybody
there is to it.
does that.
I mean, we're not here for second.
real quick story. Man, we're doing good on time, so we got
good.
plenty of time. We're doing good. Real quick story. There was a incident there a year or two ago or whatever where someone wrecked and everything, and someone run out on the track and was trying to fight and all this kind of stuff. Well, Shane Wilt comes to me and says, "Mike, you ain't gonna believe what I seen." He said, Chris Bresler, which I don't know if you know Chris Bresler, he's the one, his son runs a Crown Vic, and he's Santa. He does Santa. And we've had him on the show before, and he goes, "I never seen Chris Bresler act like this. He ran out on the track and was trying to fight people." And I'm like, "Really? Like, that's very strange." So, like, I messaged Chris, and I'm like, "Is everything okay? Are you, I mean, everything good?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Well, I heard you was out on the track tonight." And he's like, "I wasn't even at the track." I'm like, "Well, something's wrong." Here, we did find out about it. How many months later, Shane?
Yeah.
It was some other guy that looked like Chris.
Looked like
But
I made it.
You thought Santa Claus out there fighting
I
somebody.
did, and I made it right recently with Chris. So I told him, I said, "I'm really sorry I said that. I didn't say it to anybody other than Mike." But so Chris, I'm sorry.
he said, "I never seen Chris do that before."
So,
But no, you know, I know I already said it once, but you guys are to be commended. You know, that was a tough deal, especially with Easter Sunday. I'm sure it was tough for you to go home, and you know, most of us look forward to Sunday, Easter Sunday. You know, watching the kids run around, collect Easter eggs, and spending time with our family. And I'm sure you went home and you had a little bit of a something
Yeah, it was
holding you down a little bit.
Yeah, it was tough, and like I said, I know it was in the, you know, once he said something, I remember seeing it in the rules, but we're IMCA racing. They you know, there's axles coming in the car. We're IMCA racing. We're also racing at Hagerstown this year, and you know, people, Ray Mine up at BAPS and Brian Booz, and you know, people ask my opinion because I'm stock car racing and have an idea what the rules are and whatever. And all the conversations that I had in the off season, an axle never got brought up. And like I said, the following week when I went back to BAPS and won, I was like, I broke the rule. There was a rule there. I'm racing at BAPS because they have tech and because they have rules and because they hold themselves to that standard. And I got the sense that Brian didn't want to disqualify me that night, but for the good of the sport, he made the right decision that night. Because it let everybody know, if you're going to come to BAPS and you're going to race, we're going to tech your car. And I think, you know, the racing up there shows that. You know, again, those two Miller boys, they had, one had motor trouble after Friday night, and the other one obviously totaled their car. They jumped in two other cars that weren't theirs and were very competitive in them. And it shows that because of the tech and you know, all the cars are relatively equal, and that's something to be commended. And I think it did good for the class there.
I
overall.
understand cheating is cheating. I understand that. But I also understand things that help with performance and things that don't. And like I say, I'm not going against the tech at BAPS. Maybe they have a something. I try to stay up on everything, but maybe there's something that they don't like. I know that, like with the late models, they make some axles that are different tension that the late model guys that are probably expensive, and maybe they're trying to keep you guys from getting into those because maybe they're gun drilled. I don't know, but I had a guy message me that night, and he's like, "What's a gun drilled axle?" And I'm like, "Well, it's just like a gun barrel." And I said, "I really don't think there's no advantage to it, but there may be an optional."
There might be.
We're our own worst enemy.
Yeah, we
so,
didn't know. I mean,
yeah,
that's what I told Brian. I was like, if there's an advantage, I'm not quite sure what it is. It just sucks for us because we've been fighting that, you know, perception and you know, the whole deal. And it was like, you know what, it's something that's so easy. I mean, 3 little set screws and you can check it. So it's
right.
It's not real hard to tech, you know. And it was like the low hanging fruit. And here we are.
Tell our listeners what's the difference in IMSA rules and the extreme stock rules. What's
So,
different in the cars?
For BAPS, not much. What I think the misunderstanding, the thing that most people don't understand is an IMCA legal stock car is now they run they have a speedway frame that's aftermarket, so you don't have to get one out of the junkyard. That's about, I think they're like $3,000 for the whole kit. That's what they're building them on.
And the speedway frame looks almost identical. It's like a stamped frame, looks like a regular metric frame.
100%. It's just the same thing.
Yeah.
It just they're going to them now. They found the last year when we ordered a car, we got an old style because they were new last year. They found, I think, just in consistency that it's the way to go moving forward. But other than that, I think there's a misconception that our cars are more expensive than every other car that's out there. Now, if you bought an old used car, the ones that you guys used to race, or somebody's old car, 100% it is. But if you're buying a new one, that's not necessarily true. When you can get, I can get you for $7,500 and get you powder coated chassis. Now, after that, everything's in stock location, stock lower, A-arms in the front. You're allowed to move the uppers as long as you run an 8.5 inch upper control arm. And then we run stock trailing arms in the back, and then the rear is a little bit more expensive because that's the only thing you can really modify to make the car go better.
So someone can buy a chassis, powder coated, run the brake lines and everything, fuel lines, all that crap, and then they can actually take their suspension off their old car and move it over onto the new car because everything is factory.
And so it's just one of those things. Yes, the rears are a little bit more expensive, but the IMCA stamp A-arms we run in the front are cheaper than the rule now at BAPS. You can run, if they're in stock, if your uppers are in stock location, you can run whatever A-arm you want. Well, then you're spending more money for the A-arms. And then you can run, I think they run a little bit different lowers also to try to get the geometry out of it. Or you can run stock lowers, the IMCA stamped uppers, and you can move the mounting points. And then, like I said, people don't believe me, we run stock trailing arms. With stock bushings, everything in the back. Now, the rear, their technology, they're allowed to drop their trailing arm, their left rear trailing arm, they're allowed to drop it.
Yeah, a lot of guys do that.
Well, here, we have to keep it at 3.5.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of the technology that you have out there, and we can't directly apply it to what we're doing here. We're just able to work with them to try to figure out what the best combination is to make it work. But really, it's the most basic stock car you can get. It has jack bolts and externally mounted shocks, and other than that, it's just a Monte Carlo.
Makes sense.
See, one of my opinions was to when they brought the extreme stocks to Hagerstown was let them run Burt and Bren transmissions. And I had a guy that is very well known in the extreme stock class, won a lot of races. He messaged me privately, nothing crooked or anything. He said, Mike, he says, I understand what you're trying to do. He says, but I buy clutches and flywheels for, $200, whatever, 150, whatever, like a Corvette flywheel and a pressure plate is. And I'm like, well, I understand that. I said, but I don't know as far as them guys, but I know with the pure stock / semi-lates, whenever they let us go to the Burts and Brens, that just made teching so easy because they didn't have to jack no cars up. They didn't have to look for couplers. They didn't have to look for, triple disc clutches. And them clutches that everybody was running, they was like $500-600. Now I know you guys don't run that, but
I don't see the advantage in the Saginaw 3-speed. We go through one a year almost. The clutches, the throwout bearings, the whole deal. By the time you do all that, I don't know what the savings is, and then they're constantly leaking, making a mess of your car. And I'm all for it. Now I'd say that you are allowed to run a Burt transmission. Yeah, the motor's a little bit less compression, a little bit. I think compared to our BATS motor, I think Chad said that we're about 40 horsepower lower. They do run the Burt transmissions out there. Now,
I seen Sealands Grove's rules say any transmission. Do they allow them also, or
I
is
think
that
Sealands Grove's rules? If you read those rules, there's barely a rule book. at Selinsgrove. Grove. I mean,
Are they way off? They're way off from the extreme stocks.
Yeah, I would think so. Just on motor, I mean, like if they're motorable, I think it has like 3 lines to it. So if you call a reputable motor builder and say, hey, I want a 360, but here's the rule book and it's wide open, or you have, like our Hagerstown 400, that motor's an hour. You know what I mean? So that's why, like with BAPS, what they're trying to do this year, and there's letting a couple guys come up there and put chips on them. And if you have a BAPS legal motor, you don't have to. But if you're a Hagerstown guy and you want to go to BAPS, I think Raybon's gotten to the point where it's like you have to run a 6500 chip early in the night when the track's heavy. I actually ran the first race with my Hagerstown 400 in it. I don't think it helped me out, especially later in the early in the night. I probably won the heat race, beat the younger Miller boy because I had the 400 in it. But in the feature, when the track slipped off, I don't care if you got a super late model motor in it on the DOT tires, you're not. It's not. I mean, if the track's got any kind of grip somewhere and you can get to it, and you have motor, it's going to show up. So I think it's commendable that they're trying to let those guys, because they're not running a whole lot of Hagerstown and trying to get them up there.
Most people just want an opportunity.
Right.
And if they decide that they can't compete with the rule package, then they'll decide not to come back. But most people just want to say, hey, I want to come up and see how well I can do with whatever rules that you'll get put under my car.
And those DOT tires they run up there, it's equalizer. I think you can do that on the DOT tires because they're an equalizer. I don't think if you take the race cars up at BAPS and put them on racing tires, you can't have those big motors come in, whether they have a chip or not, and have a competitive race. And a lot of the guys have a hard time not wanting to go to the DOT tires, like they're grocery getter tires. Well, my view on it right now is I'd rather have racing tires too, but if it's allowing us to kind of, in my opinion, if stock cars don't get on a unified rule in the area, it's going to die. I think that the more tracks that run the same rules and have pockets of guys that show that they're running good, and then you can have a couple races a year where they get together and they have, you have a grudge match and it gives people a reason to pay attention. Is hey, like the Winchester guys and the Hagerstown guys and the guys that are running BAPS, and they're all racing Williams Grove tonight. I think that there's something to support the class, and like you look at the comments after Williams Grove, there was only 6 cars that ran that night, but we put on a good show, and the comments were like, man, the stock cars are putting on a better show, like they're the best show of the night, most of the time, and it just stinks that every little pocket has their own little rules that keeps them from, and some of it's the tracks, and then honestly some of it's the racers. They don't want to change what they feel is giving them the edge. So they're like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing this.
Makes sense.
I know. I understand. I do agree with what you're saying. It's just I hate to see. Here's one of my things, and it's not a dig at any track or anything like that. But like I know Hagerstown next year is going to eliminate the 400s, and that's fine and all. But I don't want to see them guys eliminate the 400s, and then the idea of working with another track just be blow away with the wind. You know what I'm saying? Then you made guys build new motors, and like nothing came out of it.
Right.
The tracks they're going to have to go out of their way, and I'm not bashing any track. I don't do that on this show, but they're going to have to go out of their way you can't have 25 races a year and work with another track. There's no time for your cars to go to the other track.
Right.
Right.
That was the problem.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the problem with that whole deal with Hagerstown and BAPS coming together so late was once
well,
they
yeah,
figured out
it was
the rules. It was already like, well, our schedules are set.
Yeah, that was late in the year. But
and the guys that are getting the word that you can run the 400, but you have to be on the DOT tires, they're pushing back on it. What I say is that at least it's giving you the opportunity. Like, I'd rather have people have to buy a set of DOT tires than buy a motor, because not everybody can just go out and buy a new motor to be able to race.
Right.
So that's the bridge that we have to. Everybody has to get on DOT tires for a couple years until enough tracks come together and say, hey, 2 years from now we're going to be on racing tires, and but this is the motor that everybody has to be on. Gives people a chance, and they know that there's some kind of longevity in it. But I don't think it's ever going to happen, but you know, that would be nice.
Well, I don't know how many guys you got out there with old semi-lates, but I just know I'm not saying we have any plans or anything, but like Shane has a race car, and you know it would need just it's an old car, so it don't have the cage ain't set back, none of that. I mean, it's basically a hobby stock, but you know, with a 400 in it, so it would need, you know, transmission and clutch and intake changed, that kind of stuff. Well, I hate to see someone like Shane that, you know, that raced the semi-late class, and they want to take and switch their car over to go to a hobby stock. I hate to see at the end of the year, I understand you can sell it, but I just hate to see like a car sitting there with a 400 in it that ain't no good for nothing.
Right.
I mean, I understand that don't bother you because you can go race. I'm not
Right.
trying to put that in your playing field. I'm just saying that I understand Shane can take his 400 out and sell it to someone and then build a 350. But I hate to see, like at the end of the year, I hate to see that little bridge
Well, that's when
chopped off. You know what I mean?
When we talked rules with everybody in the off season, when it got to that, I was like, I'm out. There's no good answer to that.
Yeah,
Because
there
motors are
isn't.
so expensive. And I was like, that's the problem, is that, you know, because some tracks run 400s and everybody's invested in that, and some run this motor and some run that motor, that there's never going to be a good answer to that.
I don't know if they could add weight to them or not, whether that would hurt them or not. To keep, I mean, I understand they probably want to get away from the 400s altogether. I just hate to see the guy that has the low budget old semi-late that they ran, and then they want to bridge it over. But I also understand you guys have 358 legal cars that, you know, you don't want to deal with that.
Well, that's why I want to, and you know, luckily we're blessed enough that we have the option to do whatever we want. But I try to make sure that, especially with being mostly running BAPs this year, is to stay true to those guys. And like, hey, you know, we got a motor. I don't want to, you know, encourage these people to come in with these big motors, and these guys, it's not fair to them. The guys that race BAPs every
You're right.
week. But it's just tough. It's
sort of like when Nationals rolls around. You know, I mean, it used to be years ago. I'm going to give it to you, Shirley, just here a second. It used to be years ago that when Nationals would roll around, that, like, whatever track it may be, whether it was like the Miller Fall Clash or whatever up at BAPS or whatever, that you always had a track that was way different. So, like, you know, these guys would roll in with these hog motors and all that. I mean, they was legal at their track, you know, and there's like no winning. Like half the guys that raced there all season long is like, I'm going to go camping this weekend because, you know, I can't keep up with that. I mean, that's the struggle that I think all racetracks have when they try to have a big event and put extra money on, you know, like the, whatever they call them, the Clash or Nationals or whatever. Okay, honey, the floor is all yours.
I got a Marshall McMullen says,
Hey,
Pastor
Marshall.
Shane and Evan can pray for you, Mike. Sheila Grimm says Evan does walk on water.
Oh my God!
Wow.
See?
Keith Walls says, I enjoy watching Evan Foust when he is on the track. Very respectful driver. Mark Huffman just says hello. Mike, Shirley, Shane, and Evan.
That was probably earlier.
Elena Faust Toller.
It's my sister.
J Rod said ERO.
It's my brother-in-law.
Mark Huffman says Mike Kershner, most racers will agree to disagree and shake hands except for
You already read
racers that I did read that, and I'm sorry.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Sorry.
At least Evan's laughing. I did my job as long as one person laughs.
Let me see. Did I read the one where Keith Walsh said he came right to me and apologized?
Yes.
Okay. Linda Sines, love you, Evan Faust. I hope she's related.
I hope she's related. Or Shirley just caused trouble.
Sheila Grimm's.
Evan Faust will not be at a track near you this weekend.
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
Tiffany Son says, good racers all around. Frankie Walls, Evan is a great guy. We will be back in action. Keith Walls, I can't wait. It is driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Whoops, something happened here. I gotta see where it went.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Brian's car took some damage.
Linda
Friday.
Linda Fogel says, Mike, I will make sure Randy double checks your cooler next time.
Yeah.
I think we're caught up. If I missed anybody, please put it back on there.
Brian Walls is like fast at anything he gets in.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's good, man.
And the Wallses are good people.
Yeah, he wins.
I've
a lot
always
of
had good
races.
conversations with those guys.
Yeah,
Even whenever Brian and them used to come down to Hagerstown and they was kind of outgunned, they still was a pleasure to park beside, and they would go out and just run mid-pack or whatever, and just,
That's what everybody told me this all season. If I could beat Brian Walls at Baps, I was doing something.
Yeah.
So I beat him, got disqualified, and come back next week.
yeah,
And it's good. I mean, it you know, is a confidence booster for me because I know he is good, and he's a smart race car driver, and you know, he's in the same equipment, so
yeah.
you know, it was good for me to.
That's awesome.
well, I'm gonna make me and Shane a little vulnerable right now. Shane's looking at me like, what the heck is
boy.
he gonna say? Because Evan, we've been in your shoes, unfortunately. You know, we spoke before the thing, and I try not to bring up our racing on the show unless I have to sort of use it to kind of go with what you're saying, kind of compare notes. But unfortunately, we had an issue a few years back, and I can tell you firsthand, it was nothing that we did. We didn't even know it was there. It was 2 cc's on a cylinder head, and it made me feel like a piece of crap. And I mean, we prided ourselves on being legal, and like, I hate
It's
to
just
bring
an overlooked thing that you didn't know about.
I hate to bring God into this, but like me and Shane kind of stood there, 2:00 in the morning with our parts on our car, and going, why we tried to present ourselves as good people that follow the rules, and why did God allow us to go through this? And I'm just wondering if you was feeling the same way. It's a very,
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's been times years ago where I pushed gray areas and probably, shouldn't have been doing it in the 4-cylinder division. But like, one thing that we prided ourselves on, for the Wilts at least, was Dave Wilt would come to me all the time and be like, that car's legal, right? That car's legal, right? And I say, yes, Dave, it is. I went over every nut and bolt. And it's like, it's a very crappy feeling whenever you tell the guy that owns a car that you went over everything, and then then afterwards you get all the he said, she said stuff. But one thing good was that that like Hagerstown come out with that tech thing, BAPS come out with a tech thing. But anyway, just to make myself vulnerable, I know how I felt afterwards being a cheater. And it's like, it's one thing if you're a proud cheater and you don't give a crap, but it's another thing that you want to prove to your competitors
Right.
that you did it legally, because you want them to say, hey, good job, the hard work paid off for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how did you feel? Not that you blame God, but did you feel like the same way on Easter Sunday?
I mean, especially 100%. And one of those races at Hagerstown, and then we had such bad luck at BAPS last year that we barely finished a race, and then finally won a race, and then it, and just, but it, like I said, it was more on the face side that you're trying to hold yourself to a higher standard, and then here you are, and how do you come out of that and make it better? And like I said before the show, through dealing with that after I got home, my cousin, I asked him to show up at church the next day, and he did, and that was a blessing that I was like, to me, it was worth getting disqualified to see what happened the following day, which is more important. And while I'm on that, man, like I if I came on the show and didn't say how big my cousin has stepped up, I mean, you see him at the track. I mean, he's he's not a racer. He's not really not into racing, but because of what I'm doing and the message behind what I'm doing, he's not necessarily he's a believer, but he's not a, he believes in what I'm doing and is buying in and is the biggest help and gives me the most confidence. And I really appreciate my cousin Keegan a whole bunch.
That's awesome. Have you been back to BAPS since?
Yeah, we were supposed to go to Hagerstown the following week.
Okay.
We put the regular axles back in, or the legal axles, and went back up and won the following week.
Okay, gotcha. How'd that feel?
Felt good.
Good.
Felt
Good.
good.
Okay.
Did
Yeah,
you
you
feel, what's the word I'm looking for, Mike? Vindicated? Is that the right word?
I posted the video. I said it was redemption.
Redemption.
At that.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
And really, it gave me the opportunity to go out there and say, you know what, we broke a rule and promote BAPS in the tech that they're doing there. And like I said, I think there's a lot that came out of that. So I got the win the following week. Was also able to go through that and learn from it and strengthen my faith and add to the testimony, and also go back the next week and say, hey, look, come here. There's tech, and if they catch you,
That's awesome.
there's consequences.
That's awesome. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, Chris Brudger said, I still love you, Shane.
Thank you.
Mark Huffman is saying, program note, if it does not rain this Saturday, I'll be able to start racing hobby stocks at Potomac Speedway. I have to get ready for Evan when he comes in October for Paul Cornett. Sheila Grimm says Evan works on his car all the time. Rodney Walls, which I know this is true because BAPS is a very good track at this. Rodney Walls said they checked them Saturday night. And congrats to them guys for their win there at Bedford on Saturday, I guess it was. No, Friday night. Yeah. But I know that BAPS has very good tech. Marshall McMullen, M class requires entry 3/4 roll. That's what I was saying. Basically, any major difference. Tyler Fisher, grocery tires 2 at BAPS.
He bought my Hagerstown car.
I seen that.
Yeah, he wasn't sure about it when for that first race. He was like talking this and that, and he didn't have a whole lot of confidence. He went out there and drove it there one time. Now he don't care if Carl Larson shows up. He's winning.
Yeah, that's cool.
Got rid of the old Leaf Spring car.
And he went up to Williams Grove with us, and he's gonna get some grocery, get our tires, and come try BAPS out. So it's good for him.
That's cool.
Kevin Boyer, he claims that he doubts they get rid of the 400s.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to.
Glenn William Grimm says Evan the GOAT.
I don't know that.
Rick Dayton, hi everyone. Hope you all are good. Carolyn Coote says you're right, so right. So I wish I'd known what she said that on, but because I would like to really. It was 7 minutes ago though. Tiffany Signs, Evan is good at what he does. Glenn William Grimm says, ask Evan how we met. I had a joke for that, but I didn't want to say it, so.
Yeah. No, I met Sheila and them, I think it was the first year I spun out, and I'm turning around backwards, and here comes Glenn, and he's trying to get on the brakes, and he runs into me, and tears the bumper off of it. And he came and apologized afterwards, which was cool, but the following week, we come pulling in, and there they are in that open spot next to us. We pull up right next to him. Before I even open the door, Rich is standing there, the dad. He's standing there with the 08 hat. Here, you want a hat? Don't beat us up. And we park next to him. And if you know Sheila, she's a character. And we started parking next to him. They're good entertainment.
That's
good entertainment.
They're good people. Good entertainment.
That's fun.
Got a Eugene Ripa here, and Evan Foust and his uncle are the hardest working guys when it comes to a race car.
That's awesome.
It takes a lot of hard work. I don't think people realize that. And people
That's
like the Rodney and them guys that got 2-3 cars and they run them, man, I just can't imagine how much work that is.
Yeah, I had to thank my uncle too. I mean, we compete harder against one another than anybody. Like, I don't even know half the people at the track. Like, to me, it's just another car because we put so much pressure on ourselves internally that if we're not careful, we'll take the fun out of it. And we've done that.
Yeah.
But we just push one another so hard that sometimes I think that's part of the perception is that we just, You know, like we're competing against one another, and this is just it's like on a level that just it isn't healthy sometimes. But
Gotcha.
I definitely like the camaraderie, though. I mean, years ago, I think times have changed. Years ago, like things was rougher, and like people didn't get along and stuff. But nowadays, it's like, man, like Shane knows how we are. Like, if we race door to door and you beat us, I'll be one of the first ones in victory lane to shake your hand and say congrats.
well, it's like, I mean, Sammy
know.
set me up perfect Friday night at Williams Grove. I mean, I wanted to let
Hey,
the whole
he's a good racer.
He set me up perfect, and I couldn't be mad about it. And Pat McLean come up to me Saturday at Babs. He goes, "Man, don't be mad. Sammy's done that to me about 25 times." I said, "I am not. Maybe if it was a track I've been to, I'd be a little bit more upset." I said, "But I'm not bad. I got beat by Sammy Rowell on the last lap." And like, I went back and watched the replay. My man was setting me up the whole time. I had no idea. He ran a perfect, smart, educated, good race, and there's nothing I can be mad about.
But those fourth turn ones is the hard ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been there. Shane, anything you want to add?
I just want to say thank you for your stance on your faith. I remember you mentioned Kenny Pettyjohn earlier in the conversation. I remember Kenny Pettyjohn had a Bible verse across his wing.
Is Corinthians 9,
28.
21.
28, 21 or whatever that
Life's
is.
a race, you might as well.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so thank you for that. I know Matt Cosner does the same thing. I remember one year I was in Florida, and I went up to Pettyjohn, and I thanked him for that. He was very kind and humble in the way that he responded to that. So thank you for your stance on faith. And certainly me and Mike have had this conversation many times. That's far more important, where we stand with God than race cars. And we probably get that mixed up once in a while and get competitive. But where we stand with God is certainly the most important thing that we're going to have in our lives. So
Amen.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that's how I got going to Shane's church, actually.
Yeah.
I was at the racetrack. I knew Shane for years, but I was at the racetrack, and the church I was going to, it kind of had a deal where it was closing up, so I didn't go for a while. And we was after races one night, Shane comes strolling through the pits. He's like, "Hey, when y'all coming to my church?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." So then one night after the races, we all got together and we're like, "Hey, let's all of us go into West End Baptist and surprise Shane tomorrow." And that's how. And I've been going there ever since.
I keep hoping that I see
appreciate it.
somebody, through this, and like the Facebook page I mentioned earlier, that I go to church on Sunday and I see somebody from the track. It'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
And Doug Watson was, that's years ago. That's how we raced the handicapping. And like if you're leading the points, you're starting 11th each week.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's tough. It's tough, but it's awesome. Like the fans love it though. They love seeing guys like you and whoever's leading the points in the class is coming from
Make it hard.
back that far.
Make it interesting.
Sheila Grimm says thank you. I guess she's thanking you, Evan, for your comments.
She's probably thanking me.
Carolyn Kuntz says God has his reasons for everything.
You're right, Carolyn.
That's correct.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Let's see. What else? I think that's it.
I want to thank everybody. Not that anybody allowed me to do this. I'm not trying to say it. I know I'm going to sound ignorant no matter how I say it, but I want to thank everybody for allowing us to have a more of a faith back show. I asked Evan before the show if it was okay. Not that he's ashamed of anything. We're not ashamed of anything. It's just I didn't want to overshadow your racing. But
No, I think it's great that I wasn't expecting it to be, but I think it's great. I think that's the mission. I think that's what was laid on me on that message from Facebook, and it was cool. If we can get people and the interactions that you have at the track, I think you asked earlier, like people that come up and say like when you do meet the Christians and you wouldn't, a lot of times you wouldn't ever guess it, and people come up and start talking about their faith to you, and it's eye opening, really cool.
Very powerful.
I had a compliment one night, and I don't know if it is a compliment, but I think it was. But we was racing years ago, and Cody was driving, and somebody wrecked us. Well, he's leading, I think, and I was mad, and I got a temper, and I tried to work on that. My dad was a very soft-spoken person, and I said at his funeral that I strive to be like him because he was the kind of person that never said a mean word to nobody. Just no matter what happened, he just took it in stride. And I had one of Cody's friends say, I have never seen anyone that mad that never said a cuss word.
I remember that.
Because I don't cuss.
Yeah.
I don't cuss. I mean, even if I, get mad and I want a word to come out, I bite my tongue and walk away because
I wish I could say that.
Well, I'm not putting you down because of that. I probably shouldn't be getting mad like I do, but I've learned the last few years that it's a lot funner to go home, win, lose, or draw, from a fun night than it is to go home being angry and mad and
Being a believer doesn't mean you're perfect.
Amen.
Nobody's
Oh,
perfect.
man.
Nobody's perfect.
Amen.
And being
I'm pretty
you're not
close
gonna
to
be
it,
perfect.
but
And if you think you are, and if you think you are, you're wrong. But it just being a believer, you're going to have times and trials, and you just got to keep your faith. You just can't.
and he just went through a trial.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big a one, but I mean, it was to you, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
The issue wasn't that big a one as far as I'm concerned.
You're still a work in progress.
Yeah.
Is what you are. You're still a
We
work
all
in
are.
progress. You're not perfect. And that's what people don't understand. Everybody wants to say about people that go to church and believing in God. Well, they believe in God, and that's the way they act. Well, you got to look at it this way too. They're still a work in progress.
That's right. That's right.
I kind of I'm rough around the edges, and Troy would tell you that I go to church on Sundays, and I mean, I'm trying to say this in a nice way without making myself look like a jerk. But I'll just I'm not mean, but I'll say I'll tell people what I think. People know when they talk to me, they're going to get the truth, and I'm not going to talk behind their back. And it's I kind of pride myself that I want to be a better person, and I want to not do those things, but I also pride myself on being the same person inside the church as I am when I'm out walking around.
Right.
That I'm not, I don't walk in and put a mask on and sing Kumbaya and then
Here I am.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. So I mean, I'm not perfect like Troy said, and I probably should keep my mouth shut. I'm not a mean person. I just like to when I feel strongly about something,
You're passionate.
I'm passionate about getting
Get that honesty out there.
yeah. It's not like I'm yelling at people. It's just I'm very. If there's Shane would tell you, if there's something bothering me,
Well, I'm not saying I've told people, especially people I'm racing against, I said, you don't hear coming out of my mouth, I didn't say it. Because I'll say it to your face, and it's not because I'm
That's right.
tough, or anything, it's just because if I have something to say to you, I'm going to say it to your face and make sure that if I'm going to
That's
talk
the way
about
yeah.
you, I'm going to say it to you first.
I love that.
yeah, I'm the same way. And I mean, like you said, it's not like you're saying it I'll say it to your face. It's you want to have the conversation face to face. You don't want the
I've heard a couple
He
people
said,
calling
she
it, I heard
said,
she said, and that start the conversation that way. I'm like, did you hear me say it?
That's right.
Then no, I didn't. Then that's
Okay.
I want to say
Sure.
one last thing, Mike.
No, we don't have time.
No, it's really quick. The uncle that called you and prayed with you on the way to the racetrack, that's super cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
That's awesome. So, very cool.
All right, I'm
Shout out to
gonna give you a second to thank everybody you want to thank here at the end of the show. But real quickly here, I have to do this.
Marshall McMullen says, being angry and mad will never fix your car or make it faster.
Amen. You're right.
Amen.
It's just hard to think that when it's 90 degrees out
Doug?
and your adrenaline was here and it went to there.
Doug McTavish says, Mike says the same stuff in church that he shouldn't say out of church.
I do. And
out loud.
sometimes I get a chuckle from the people in the pew in front of me.
Carolyn Kuntz says you need to listen to Shane every morning.
Yeah, the Morning Minute.
He has a
Wow.
morning minute every
Thank-
morning.
Yeah, we're going to announce that. Shane, go
Thank you.
to West End Baptist Chapel, and every morning
On Facebook.
he calls it the Morning Minute. Now he does sometimes go over a minute,
That is true. That is
so
very
he
true.
does. But it's all it is like a minute or minute and a half of just a little scripture and him just kind of giving you a boost for the morning. It's nothing real major or anything.
Thank you
So
for that, Mike. Thank you for that, Carolyn. Appreciate that.
anybody that wants to get a little morning scripture or whatever, little morning scolding going on. I'm joking.
I apologize for the internet here this evening, people. I don't know what's going on with it, but we've been having issues
I've
with,
got the- you're-
with it lagging and questions not coming through, not being able to see them.
You're going to buy me a new computer.
So I apologize for that, and if we missed your questions, come back on next time and give, us some more questions.
and we're email Evan. How's that?
We could do that.
Lucas Oil Late Models this weekend, buddy. Friday at Georgetown Speedway. They are going to have the Lucas Oil Late Models, the Crate Late Models, the Chargers, and the Little Lincolns. Saturday at Baps Speedway. Sunday at Hagerstown Speedway. Real quickly here, I like to support our local tracks, so I'm going to take a moment here. Potomac Saturday is going to be Crate Late Models. Street Stocks, Hobby Stocks, Strictly Stocks, Roadsters. It is also Marf Night, and it is also Crate Driver Autograph Night. And the Marf is Metropolitan Auto Racing Fan Club, if anyone's not familiar with that. It's a great club from down around the Virginia area. Winchester has Rush Touring Series 5,000 to win for Crate Late Models, Pure Stocks, and 305 Sprints. Hagerstown is on Sunday. Lucas Oil Late Model Series, Conagajig 40, 10,000 to win in Crate Late Models. Bedford is Friday. Benny 4 Memorial, USAC East Coast Sprints. Limited Late Models, Pure Stocks 4-cylinders, and Crown Vics. Port Royal has the PA Posse Sprint Series again this week. The Keith Kaufman Classic worth 15,000 to win. USAC East Coast Wingless Sprints and the Wingless Sportsmans. Path on Saturday has limited late models, 270s, 600s, Thunders, and 305 Sprints. BAPS is on Saturday, Lucas Oil Late Models. Going to have the limited late models and extreme stocks, feature only for Evan and Brian and everyone else running the class. Sillins Grove Friday, Ray Tilley Classic, 410s, limited late models and street stocks. Williams Grove Friday, 410s, 305s, and wingless super sportsmans. Clinton County, 270s, 305 sprints, the pro stocks, the 4-cylinders, and the junior sprints. Linda Speedway, Ehrman Falk Memorial, wingless 600s, 600 mods, East Coast Legend Series, super sportsmans. Lincoln on Saturday, PA Micro Midgets, East Coast Legend Series is at Lincoln on Saturday, limited stocks, and classic cars. Also, BAPS tomorrow night is going to have their Wednesday practice, and I think they had listed on their website that anyone racing in the Lucas Oil race cannot practice because it's against Lucas Oil late model rules. So if you have a late model or a limited late model and you don't plan on racing at BAPS, or I guess you can come practice, but that's just what they had listed on there. Roaring Knob, opening night, super late models, UPLMS crates, sport mods, chargers, and 4-cylinders. Thundering Rock Raceway, opening day, pure stocks, 4-cylinders, Crown Vic Semilates. Hey, and they got UMP mods on the schedule here this week. Dog Hollow, 358 late models, crates, late models, pure stocks, 4-cylinders. And last but not least, Natural Bridge Speedway. Going to have late models, 602 late models, street stocks, pure stocks, or yes, probably street stocks, pure stocks, Crown Vics, and Little Rascals. That's what I need to race, a Little
I got
Rascal.
2 more comments here that came in. So I do. Dylan Pryor says he's going to put a complaint in. I guess he's talking about us missing.
The FCCA.
He's going to put a complaint in about us missing comments. Also, this in here is serious.
Okay.
Linda Fogel, she says, please keep Randy in prayers.
Oh, I apologize, Linda. I thought I had that wrote down. Maybe I didn't. I apologize.
I'm assuming
Randy
that's
Fogel is the one at the racetrack. Usually that's why I joke with him about coolers. He's the one, this skinny guy that always stands there and jokes with us about our cooler. He's having a rough time and has been under the weather here for a little while. I thought for sure I had it wrote down, Linda. I'm sorry. I apologize. I try to keep up with everything, all the people, the racers that need prayers and everything. Well, Evan, I want to give you an opportunity. I appreciate you coming on the show. I want to give you an opportunity to say anything you want to say. Thank anybody. This is your time. So.
Yeah, I want to thank my uncle. I mean, without him, none of this is possible. He's a man of faith too, so a lot of who I am is because of him. My mom, same thing. My wife, I got 4 teenage daughters at home that put up with all this craziness.
Oh man, you better pray.
Yeah, I know. That's what I do. And then just, I guess the main thing, especially, I wasn't sure what we were going to talk about when we came up here. And we had Pastor on with us, and we wound up talking about a lot of faith, which is cool. It's not what I thought I was going to be ever talking about on a racing radio show when I got into racing. But I think the main thing is if anybody's listening, they're looking for a church, and I know we don't race in the community, which is unfortunate, but there's an open invitation to Anthology at 10 o'clock, Charlestown Middle School, every Sunday. Curtis, pretty cool. And if I could get people there, that's probably the biggest win, biggest thanks I can get.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Well, I appreciate Evan. I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about faith. I know, when you come here, I sit down and I said, hey, we're going to talk about your career. I want to touch on the smile God loves you in your suit and that kind of thing. And I appreciate you, willing to go that route. I thought it was a different show that would maybe there's somebody that tuned in that just wanted to hear about racing, and maybe it struck a chord, or maybe you got a new fan, or Shane got a new person in his in his church.
Keep
Yeah,
going,
that's
brother.
pretty cool.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But
I never thought that's what this was.
It was never planned that
Like,
way.
racing was never supposed to be like that, but like I said, when I got that message, it's what it kind of has turned into to me, and like it's a little bit uncomfortable for me to sit here and have the show be that much about that, and I hope people don't turn their nose up to it. But at the end of the day, once I did it, I'm not turning back. I'm not going to apologize for it for sure. So
love it.
Well,
I'm glad it was.
I hope that we got to talk about everything you want to talk about, because I didn't want to cut you short on any of your racing career, anything you want to talk
cool.
about.
Cool. That's
But
way
I
cooler
just-
than racing.
I just felt the need, something just like whenever I first messaged you, like it was all about your racing and the way you present yourself and your team. And then I just had this overwhelming feeling that I should get a hold of Shane and that we could touch on a little bit of the faith and that kind of thing, that it would be kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak.
it.
So
That's the best compliment you could give me. Like that you invited me, and felt like that was the right thing to do.
Love it.
That's a huge compliment.
Love
so
it.
I just, I've learned in life whenever I hear that little voice in my head
try to listen to
that I should try to listen to it, and I should try to make. And I kept kind of battling myself with like, I wasn't going to go this personal, but I tried to battle myself with how far. Not that I'm ashamed of my faith, but I didn't want to turn the show into. You know what I'm saying? It's a racing show. I didn't want to, I don't want to offend no one with talking about God. And then I finally got to the point where I was like, I kind of looked at my wife and I said, Troy, I'm not trying to be ignorant. I appreciate everything WRGG does for me. I appreciate everybody that tunes in and watches me every week. But I just feel like I need to, like this 1 week, I need to do this. I just feel like I need to do it. So
awesome.
I appreciate everybody tuning in, everybody bearing with us.
Can you lead us off with a prayer? Like,
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Are you okay with that?
I don't care.
All right.
Let's take over the room like my uncle did on the way to the track the other day, and let's get out of here.
I'm okay with that. God, we just thank you for another day, and we're reminded that life is in your hands. And so we thank you that you've breathed life into us yet another day. And I thank you for Mike. I thank you for Shirley. I thank you for Evan and their stance on faith. And I just pray a blessing over each of them and their homes and their racing teams. And God, I just pray that most importantly, that you would continue to make us into what you desire us to be. I thank you that both Evan and Mike have shared vulnerable stories tonight about how you took them through situations that challenged them, strengthened their faith. I pray that you would continue to take us deeper in our faith. And God, I pray a blessing over Evan as he races this weekend. Keep him safe. And I pray that both of these people that are represented here tonight will continue to make Jesus the center of our lives. And we pray that in his name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Shane.
Amen.
Thank you, Evan.
Thank
Good
you,
luck
Evan.
this weekend, buddy. Appreciate you being on the show. We're out to get you back. Thank you, Shane.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you to my
I'm
wife,
an honor.
Shirley. Thank you to Todd
It was an
Ward,
honor.
It's nice meeting you.
Nice
TA
to
Ward
meet you.
Construction.
Keep up the good stuff,
Thanks
man.
to
Thank you, brother.
WRGG 93.7 FM here in Greencastle. And hope everybody is well. And have a great weekend.
Amen. Thank you.
Answer the phone when you